Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Holdsworth homestead. It's been 1 month and 1 day since the last video, so I wanted to do an update so that everybody can see all the growth that's happened in a month, and also talk a little bit about pests in the aquaponic garden and a few things that I've learned. So for aquaponics, there's a few things that you need to add into your water besides fish food. When I buy fish food, I'm looking for 32 to 45% protein. What I feed my fish is Purina Aquamax, which is a 41% protein content. And basically what you want is 60 grams of fish feed per square meter of growing area to support your plants. And then you have to figure out how many fish you need based on your plant growing area. Figure you're gonna feed them about 3% of their body weight and use some of that math. Right here in front, I have red Russian kale. And the 3 nutrients that you add into these system are iron. A lot of times when you start to see yellow leaves, that's an indicator of an iron deficiency. When you start to see a little bit of this blotchiness in the leaves, that's an indicator of calcium deficiency. So I have been a little delinquent on adding my calcium. We've also had a lot of rain the last few days, which kind of flushes the nutrients out of the system. When you add calcium, it typically raises the pH depending on your calcium source. And I try to keep my pH about 6.5, which is kind of a happy medium between keeping the plants growing well and the nutrients being able to absorb, and keeping the fish happy as well, because the fish like a little higher pH. So red Russian kale, this is a lettuce mix. I like to do either Encore or Wildfire from Johnny's Seeds. So those are some of the new seedlings that will grow up to look like that. Toscano kale, 1,000 head kale. Got some Rex bib lettuce back there. Some basil starts. There's some celery over on the corner. One of the things that really fascinates me is the Swiss chard that kind of has the magenta color stalks. A really neat thing to take a look at are the roots. So you can see that the roots are kind of the same color as the plant. Now if I had yellow Swiss chard, they do the same thing. They actually have yellow roots. So that's really, really cool. I don't know of any other veggies that actually do that. As far as pests, my biggest problem have been caterpillars. So if you want to spray, you can get something that's BT or Bacillus thuringiensis based, that's specifically for caterpillars. When you see large holes in your leaves like this, that typically means that you've got a caterpillar problem. Typically I just go through every single day and check for caterpillars and remove them and turn them into chicken food. Another common problem that I see are aphids, these little green guys. But what's actually really cool is there's these beneficial insects called a parasitic wasp that look like this. You can actually see this guy moving around. So they're a wasp, but they're about the size of a fruit fly. And what these guys actually do is they lay their egg inside of the aphid, and out hatches a brand new beneficial wasp, and it kills the aphid. So all these little brown dots are aphids that have been parasitized, otherwise known as aphid mummies. So you can kind of see the mix of the living aphids versus the aphids that have been parasitized. So that's a pretty neat little beneficial action that we have going on thanks to our parasitic wasp friend that you can see there. The other common issue that I see are leaf miners. And this is an insect that actually tunnels inside of the leaf, so they're kind of difficult to get rid of with a spray. The best thing you can do to keep them under control is to remove the affected leaf. There's also another parasitic wasp that has a relationship with the leaf miners, and they do the same thing. They lay the egg inside the leaf miner, out hatches a new wasp. Just started some new seeds. I start in a material called rock wool. It's volcanic rock that's heated up to 3,000 degrees and spun to get this fibery material. Started some lettuce, some peppers, dill and cilantro. It's starting to get a little warm in Florida for. Also some banana seeds that I got from a friend, which we'll see how their germination rate goes, but with aquaponics, maybe that'll do well. And then also some New Jersey tea seeds. So kind of some oddball stuff just to experiment and see what grows. I got some Genovese basil here. Gonna make some nice pesto this weekend. I've also got some lime basil on the other side. There's my lone artichoke doing its thing. We'll see how that does. my mint, which was one of the first things that I put in there, chocolate mint. Collard greens. I have some Surinam spinach back here that I started from cuttings that's doing remarkably well, and I'm getting ready to do some more cuttings on that one. This is kind of a neat one called Jewels of Opar, this variegated one in the middle. So kind of some spinach substitutes or spinach alternatives. My cilantro has grown faster than I can eat it, and it's getting ready to bolt, which means getting ready to go to seed here. Might try to make something with that this weekend and then take it out of the system. Some of my lettuce, started some new mixes. Some of the Rex that's ready to harvest, some Salanova that's starting to get a little past its prime here. Again, kind of growing faster than I can eat. One little Seminole pumpkin seedling that I just stuck in here the other day. Other side, these small tomatoes are called Micro Tom. They only get about 6 to 8 inches tall, and you can see all the teeny tiny fruits that they've got on them. So that's kind of a neat one. My full-size tomatoes are here in the back. Got some more Toscano kale. I started some vanilla orchid cuttings in here. We'll see if those do anything or not. Here's a pretty cool one that I haven't been able to grow either from seed or from cuttings in soil. This one back here is actually a Cecropia plant, which eventually this will need to be planted in the pot or in the ground because these get many tens of feet tall, 20, 30, 40 plus feet tall, but the only way I've been able to grow them so far is in aquaponics, so that's pretty neat. These are some celery plants, collard greens. That's a red mustard. You see these guys have pretty sizable leaves on them. Some tot soy. This is the lime basil that I was talking about. More kale and collards. Starting to get some unripe fruit here on my Black Beauty tomatoes. This was one of the tomato plants that I started from cuttings. So that's starting to get plenty of flowers and some fruit. And lo and behold, I see a caterpillar right there. So that's a common thing, something I gotta keep an eye out on every day. Cucumber plants starting to flower and get teeny tiny little cucumbers on there. These are chamomile plants, so I'll be looking out for some flowers on those to make tea pretty soon. That's called, I believe, mountain tea. Got some lemon balm that I made tea out of the other day. This is a tobacco plant just for the heck of it, because these grow pretty tall and have these pretty massive leaves as they get bigger, and just something that's kind of neat. And then just another oddball, these are sesame plants. See if we can get some sesame seeds. 1 month and 1 day since the last video, and this is what everything looks like.